The lights on set were too bright, the kind that made everything feel artificial. Cameras rolled silently, watching without mercy. Around them, people moved with the urgency of a storm. Yet for Ana de Armas, the noise faded into a low hum. Ah! She stood at the edge of the soundstage, her fingers trembling slightly as she held the sides of her script. This was her biggest role yet. The film was a quiet drama about loss, love, and second chances. Her character had to break down in a hospital corridor after hearing devastating news. The director said the scene needed to feel raw, nothing forced, just pain, real and unfiltered. Ana had practiced it for weeks, but now that the cameras were on, her chest felt tight, her throat dry. "Ana, we're ready," a crew member whispered. She nodded, but her heart didn't. It raced instead, loud in her ears. She took her mark, waiting. Across from her stood Keanu Reeves.com, centered and still. He played her estranged husband in the film. His role was heavy, filled with silent regrets and unspoken love. The script said he had to just stand there. As she collapsed emotionally, Action Ana stepped forward, hit her cue. She delivered the first few lines, her voice steady. But then came the moment. It's the moment she had dreaded. She had to cry. Not a tear down the cheek. No, it had to be a flood. A collapse. A breaking open, she tried. Her voice cracked, but tears didn't come. The silence stretched too long. She stumbled over her next line. Her hands twitched. Panic crept in. Then something strange happened. Keanu didn't break character, but he looked at her. Not as an actor, as a person. As someone who had seen this before. And that look. It wasn't pity, it was permission. A small, kind signal that said, "You don't have to pretend." And just like that, the wall inside her cracked. Ana's breath hitched, then it broke. She fell to her knees, the words tumbling from her mouth, not as lines, but as sobs. Her body shook. She didn't know if she was acting anymore. The grief she had kept hidden for months, the pressure, the fear of not being good enough, the pain of a recent breakup spilled out. Tears soaked her face. She didn't stop. The scene went on. Keanu didn't move. He let her fall apart. The camera caught everything. When the director finally called cut, no one spoke. Crew members wiped their eyes. Keanu walked slowly over and sat on the floor beside her. Ana wiped her face. Embarrassed. "I'm so sorry," she whispered, her voice hoarse. "I didn't mean to cry like that. It wasn't in the script." Keanu shook his head gently. "You just made the scene real," he said softly. She looked up at him, surprised, "But I messed it up." "No," he said. "You gave it truth. We're not here to be perfect. We're here to be honest." In that moment, something shifted inside Ana. Not just as an actress, but as a person. The fear faded. The doubt loosened. Because someone she respected had seen her fall apart, and had called it art. She sat in silence for a long time, letting those words settle. Outside the set, the world kept spinning. People hustled to reset the lights. The director walked over, still stunned. "We're using that take," he said. "Nothing could top it." Ana blinked. "But I wasn't acting." "Exactly," he said, as everyone prepared for the next. Ana stood up, steadier now. Keanu walked beside her, quiet. "Thank you," she whispered again. He smiled. "Don't thank me. Thank you for being brave enough to stop pretending." It wasn't the scene she'd prepared for, but it was the one that changed everything. And deep down, Ana knew. The cameras may have captured a performance, but what they really caught was a beginning. The beginning of her becoming who she truly was meant to be. After that scene, something changed on set. It wasn't just the director or the crew. It was the air. Everyone moved with a little more care, like they were part of something more than a film. Ana noticed it first in the way people looked at her, not with judgment, but with quiet respect. But with respect also came pressure. The next day, as she walked into the makeup trailer, whispers followed her. "Did you see yesterday?" That wasn't acting. That was something else. Ana kept her head down. The praise felt heavy, almost too much. She'd only broken down. She hadn't planned anything special. It was just real. And now, Everyone expected her to do it again. Keanu was already on set when she arrived. He sat alone, reading his script, headphones around his neck. He looked up and gave her a gentle nod. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded, but the truth was more complicated. "I'm not sure what they want from me anymore," she said, sitting down next to him. Keanu thought for a moment, then said, "They want what you already gave Truth. But don't give it for them. Give it because it's what the story needs." Anna looked at him, surprised again by how calm he always was, like he carried a quiet world with him, untouched by noise. Today's scene was lighter. No crying, no breaking down, just a conversation in a garden. But even simple scenes can feel hard when you're carrying too much inside. They rehearsed once, then again, but something felt off. The director called, "Cut, Anna. You're holding back," he said gently. She looked down. She knew he was right after. The third take, she stepped aside, trying to breathe. Then Keanu walked over. "Want to go for a walk?" he asked. She nodded, and they stepped off set. Yeah. Into a quiet hallway lined with fake windows and soundproofed walls. "You ever feel like you have to prove yourself every second?" she asked. Keanu paused before answering. "Yeah," he said, "especially when I was younger. Especially when I started taking roles that meant something to me." "How did you deal with it?" Smiled faintly. "I stopped trying to be impressive, and I started trying to be honest, even if that meant being quiet or still or even unsure." Anna leaned against the wall. "I'm scared they only liked what I did yesterday because I broke down, maybe," Keanu said. "Maybe they liked it because it reminded them that we're all human, even actors." Those words stayed with her as they returned to set. The next take. She didn't try to act perfect. She just listened. She sat in the garden, looked at Keanu across the fake sunlight, and spoke softly, naturally, like it was a real memory, and the scene became something new. Not big or dramatic, but intimate. Real. When they finished, the director gave a quiet thumbs up. No big applause, no shouting, but the stillness said enough. As they walked off set, Anna turned to Keanu. "Thank you again," he chuckled. "You don't have to keep saying that." "I do," she said, "'cause you're teaching me something no one else did." "What's that?" he asked. "How to be strong without being loud." He didn't reply. He just nodded. That night, Anna sat in her trailer alone, reading the next scene, like it was the climax. A fight between her and Keanu's character. No tears. Just pain, misunderstanding, and silence. And something in her gut twisted because this one wasn't about performance. It is about truth again. But it wasn't her truth. It was someone else's. A story from her past she hadn't told anyone. A moment she thought she had buried, but now it wanted to come out. And this scene might open it. She closed the script and stared at the ceiling. Was she ready? She didn't know. But morning was coming, and with it, another chance not to perform, but to heal. Anna barely slept that night. The script for tomorrow's scene sat on her table, marked with notes and highlighted lines. But she couldn't read it anymore. Not because she didn't know the lines. She did. She had memorized them days ago, but because they reminded her of something real. The words on the page. They weren't just fiction. They mirrored a conversation she once had with someone who had hurt her deeply, someone she never spoke about, and now she had to say those words again, not as herself, but as a character. Still, her heart didn't know the difference. By morning, her eyes were tired. She looked at herself in the mirror, then quickly looked away. She didn't want to see the fear, didn't want to feel weak. On set, everyone was quiet. It was a big scene, a long emotional argument. The turning point of the story, Anna and Keanu's characters finally confront everything they've been avoiding. The pain, the loss, the regret. The truth. The director approached them gently. "I trust both of you," he said. "Don't worry about being perfect. Just be in it." Anna nodded, but her stomach turned. She walked to her mark. The set looked like a small, empty apartment. Quiet, clean, cold. Keanu stood by the window, waiting. The cameras rolled. Action. She entered the scene and spoke her first line. Her voice shook, but it fit the moment. Keanu responded, calm but distant. The tension built, they argued, gently at first. Then louder, Anna stepped closer. She delivered the line that broke the silence. You walked away like I never mattered. Room went still. Something broke inside her. It was no longer the character speaking. It was her. Her hands clenched. Her voice cracked. She wasn't acting. She was remembering 3 years ago. Someone she had trusted left her without explanation. No goodbye, no apology, no closure. And she had buried that pain, pretending it didn't matter. But now it was back. Alive. Raw. Keanu watched her, his face unreadable. He didn't flinch, didn't break. He gave her space. She kept going, the words spilling out, unscripted now. You should have fought for me, she said, tears forming. But you just left. It wasn't in the script. The director didn't stop her. No one moved. Keanu responded gently, adapting his lines. I was broken too. I didn't know how to stay. Anna stepped back, trembling. The silence said more than words ever could, but no one said it, because no one wanted to interrupt something so real. Finally, director whispered, cut. Anna stood frozen, her body tense. Then she turned and walked off set quickly. Heading outside into the back lot, she leaned against a wall, trying to breathe. The door opened behind her. Keanu stepped out quietly. He didn't speak right away, just stood beside her. Finally, she whispered, I wasn't supposed to say those things. But they needed to be said, he replied. She wiped her face. I didn't mean to fall apart again. You didn't fall apart, he said. You'd told the truth. Anna looked at him, her eyes filled with something deeper than sadness. It wasn't just the character. It was me.
Oh.
Keanu nodded. Double quotes. I know. A long pause. Then Anna said something she hadn't told anyone. 3 years ago I was in love. And one day he just left. No message, no closure. And I blamed myself. I thought maybe if I was quieter, or softer, or better, he'd come back. Keanu listened, not interrupting, but he didn't, she said. And today, saying those words, it felt like I was finally speaking to him. Keanu looked out at the empty lot. Maybe that's why we tell stories, he said. To say the things we never got to say. Anna closed her eyes. It felt like something heavy had been released from her. Chest, not gone, but lighter. I don't know what just happened, she said softly. You healed a little, Keanu replied. That night, as the crew wrapped up, people were quieter than usual. Everyone knew they had witnessed something special. Not just a performance, but a real moment. Anna returned to her trailer, sat on the small couch, and finally allowed herself to rest, and for the first time in a long time. The silence didn't scare her. It felt safe, because someone had seen her pain and didn't look away. 3 days passed since the scene that broke everyone's silence. Anna thought maybe things would go back to normal. But they didn't. Everywhere she walked, someone was whispering. On set, at lunch, even in makeup, she tried to ignore it, to stay focused. But something felt off. She noticed it first when one of the producers avoided her eyes, then when a makeup artist hesitated before speaking finally. She overheard it in the hallway, whispered by 2 assistants who didn't know she was around. The corner. They said she lost control during the scene. Keanu had to carry the whole thing. Some people are saying she's unstable. The words stung. Anna leaned against the wall, her heart pounding. She had given them her truth, and now they were twisting it. That afternoon, the director called a private meeting. The room was small. Keanu was already there, sitting with arms folded calmly. The producer, the director, and Anna sat at the table. The director cleared his throat. Anna said, First, let me say what you did in that scene was powerful. But Anna held her breath. Some of the executives saw it differently. Differently, she asked softly. They said you went off script. That you let your emotions take over. They're worried the press might spin it the wrong way. Anna looked down. "So what do you want me to do?" she asked. The producer leaned forward. "We just need you to keep things steady from now on. No surprises. Stay in the script. Keep things clean." It felt like a slap. Keanu didn't say anything. Not yet. Anna nodded slowly. After the meeting, she walked outside again, feeling the weight return. She had thought being honest would be enough, but now they were asking her to be smaller, quieter, safer. Keanu found her later by the trailers. "You okay?" he asked. She didn't answer right away. Finally, she said, "I told the truth, and now they're acting like I broke something." "You didn't break anything," he said. "Then why do they want me to hide again?" Keanu looked up at the sky. "Because truth makes people uncomfortable. Not everyone knows how to sit with that discomfort." Anna blinked, trying not to cry. "I thought I was finally becoming real. But maybe they just wanted me to pretend better." Keanu shook his head. "No," he said. "They just don't understand what it takes to be vulnerable." Then he looked her in the eyes. "But I do." Later that evening, the rumors grew louder. Someone leaked a behind-the-scenes photo of Anna crying during the scene. Blogs began to pick it apart. Some praised her bravery. Others called it unprofessional. The worst headline read, "Anna de Armas breaks down on set, Keanu Reeves saves the day." Anna stared at the headline, her hands shaking. It made it sound like she had failed, like she needed rescuing. She didn't that night. She turned off her phone and sat alone in her trailer, staring at the wall. A knock came on her door. She opened it. Keanu stood there, holding a cup of tea. "I figured you hadn't eaten," he said. Anna stepped aside, letting him in. She sat down slowly, the tea warming her hands. "They're turning my truth into weakness." She whispered. Keanu sat across from her. "Because they don't know what strength looks like," he said. "I'm tired," she admitted. "I know. Maybe I'm not cut out for this." "You are," he said firmly. "You just haven't been around enough people who know how to hold space for your truth." Anna looked at him, eyes wide. "You do that?" she said. Keanu smiled faintly. "Someone did it for me once. Now I try to do the same." Silence passed between them. Finally, Anna asked, "Should I speak up? Not for they clear the air?" "Not for them," he said. "Only if it helps you." The next morning, Anna walked on too. The set with quiet strength, not angry, not defensive, but clear. She filmed the next scene with calm focus. No breakdowns, no tears, just presence. After the scene, the director approached her. "That was perfect," he said. Anna nodded, but inside. She knew it wasn't about being perfect anymore. It was about knowing who she was and refusing to let anyone define her story for her. But the storm wasn't over, because the headlines were just the beginning, and the next interview she had scheduled was with someone who wanted the truth twisted. Anna hadn't wanted to do the interview, but the studio insisted. "It'll clear the air," the publicist said. "Let people see the real you." What they really meant was fix the damage, fix the headlines, fix the story. The interview was scheduled to be live. A streaming platform had arranged it as a special spotlight on the film's two leads, Keanu Reeves and Anna de Armas. Side by side, answering gentle questions, promoting unity. But Anna knew better. They weren't interested in unity. They wanted a story. She sat in the green room, trying to stay calm. Her hands were clenched in her lap. The host, a polished man with a charming grin, had a reputation for asking tough questions disguised as smiles. Keanu walked in, holding 2 bottles of water, handed one to her and sat beside her. "You don't have to do this," he said quietly. "I know," she replied. "But maybe I do." "Why?" "Because if I stay silent, they keep writing my story for me." Keanu nodded slowly. When the red light blinked on and the cameras began to roll, the set looked like a cozy living room. Soft lighting, 2 chairs, fake bookshelves behind them. Anna smiled gently, trying to keep her shoulders relaxed. The host greeted them warmly, exchanged pleasantries, and asked the usual questions. How was it working together? They answered calmly, but then came the shift. The host turned toward Anna. Anna, he said, leaning forward slightly. You've been praised for your emotional performance in that hospital scene, but others say you lost control. Some even suggest Keanu had to carry you through it. What's your response to that? Anna paused. She heard the words echo in her head. Lost control, carried by Keanu. She looked down for a moment, then raised her eyes. I didn't lose control, she said softly. I let go. And yes, it was raw. It wasn't planned, but it was real. The host nodded slowly. Some might say it was unprofessional. Keanu cut in. Some might also say it was brave. The host blinked. Keanu continued, his voice steady. What Anna did in that scene, that wasn't weakness. It was truth. And as someone who's been in this industry a long time, I can tell you truth is the hardest thing to bring to a set. Glanced at him, surprised by the force in his tone. The host smiled tightly. But do you think the pressure of the role was too much for Anna? No, Keanu said, firm now. I think the pressure of being misunderstood is what hurts. The host hesitated, then moved on. Sensing the shift, the rest of the interview passed in a blur. But by the time it ended, the air felt different. Anna and Keanu stepped off stage. A producer walked by, frowning. That wasn't what we rehearsed, he muttered. Anna looked at him and replied calmly, Good. She and Keanu walked to the parking lot in silence. Only when they reached her car did she finally exhale. You didn't have to defend me, she said. Keanu turned to her. I didn't defend you, he said. I told the truth. Her eyes filled again, but this time the tears didn't fall. Thank you, she whispered. Don't thank me. Just promise me something. What? Don't let anyone rewrite who you are. That night, the clip of Keanu interrupting the host went viral. Keanu defends Ana de Armas on live TV became a top trending headline. People reposted it with captions like, This is what support looks like. This is how you stand by someone. But more importantly, something shifted in how people spoke about Anna. They stopped calling her emotional. They started calling her brave. Not everyone, of course. There were still critics, but the noise began to fade, and in its place was a quiet kind of respect. The kind you earn, not by being perfect, but by standing up and being real. 2 weeks passed. The film wrapped on a quiet Thursday evening. No big party, just hugs, handshakes, and tired smiles. The crew packed their gear, the lights went down, and the soundstage slowly emptied. Anna sat alone on the set steps, her costume still on, fingers running over the soft fabric of her jacket. It felt strange to say goodbye to the character. She had lived inside her for so long, cried her tears, carried her weight, but now it was over, and something inside Anna felt different. Not heavy, not scared, but clear. She had survived the whispers, the headlines, the doubts, and somehow she had grown stronger because of it. Keanu walked over, holding 2 paper cups of hot tea. It had become their quiet tradition. You gonna be okay after this? He asked. Anna nodded. I think so. He sat beside her. You were incredible, he said. So were you, she replied. A long pause, then she said, I've been thinking. I don't want to go back to the way things were. What do you mean? For this film, I was always trying to please people, do everything right, stay in control, never show too much. But now she looked at him. I want to keep being honest, even if it scares people. Scared smiled softly. That's a rare choice, he said. The right one. A few days later, Anna did something bold. She wrote a letter and posted it publicly. No publicist reviewed it. No team approved it, just her. It read, I cried on set. Not because I failed, but because I finally stopped pretending. I've spent years trying to be perfect. Now, I'm choosing truth. Thank you to the people who saw that moment and called it beautiful instead of broken. Thank you to the ones who stayed silent with me when the world got loud. And to the person who told me I didn't mess up. You helped me find myself. I'm no longer afraid to feel. I'm no longer afraid to be seen. The post exploded. Millions read it, and more importantly, how thousands of young artists, actors, and people who had never stepped on a set wrote back. With their own stories, stories of fear, of pressure, of finally letting go. Anna didn't post again. For a while after that, she didn't need to. She had said what mattered. One afternoon, weeks later, she met Keanu at a small cafe, tucked away in the hills. They sat outside, the sun warm, the wind soft. "I'm thinking of writing something," she said. "A film, about honesty, about falling apart on purpose." Keanu nodded. "Sounds like something the world needs. Would you help me write?" He smiled. "Of course." They clinked their teacups together like old friends who had been through a quiet war and made it out, as they sat in silence. A young couple passed by and paused. "Sorry," the woman said, "but that scene you did in the hospital, it meant something to me. I just wanted to say thank you." Anna's eyes softened. "Thank you," she replied. The couple walked away. Anna looked at Keanu. "I used to be afraid of crying in front of people," she said. "What about now? Now I know tears aren't weakness. They're proof you're still alive." Keanu leaned back in his chair, peaceful. "And that," he said, "is what makes you unforgettable." And with that, Anna smiled, not because everything was perfect, but because for the first time in her life, she didn't need it to be.